This video is a vibe coding video for a simple game. It's like a word game that one of my friends designed, and I tried to hire a developer to make it years ago, and he kind of left us in the lurch at the finish line. So I'm going to see if I can finish it. I've already taken one pass at this where I gave it the instructions and I just kind of hit play on the agent, and it created a whole bunch of weirdness and a whole bunch of bugs, and it didn't really work, and there's just a lot that messed up. So I took a step back. I rephrased some of the starting instructions that you see here to where I think it's a little bit more step by step and also a little bit more prescriptive in terms of, I like to define the Python file and even some of the methods, functions, whatever you want to call them, within that file. I think that helps kind of guide it. And then also for the first version, we're just going to do text only. So we want to make sure we get the text working first before we go into any graphics. I think that will help with the reliability. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can try it with the agent version here. And I'm on 3.5 Sonnet because it's still really good, and they're throwing some errors sometimes with 3.7 where they're kind of like running out of like usage, I guess. And so I don't want it to have to like to stop it. And so we're going to go ahead and leave it on 3.5 Sonnet, and I'm going to click the stopwatch, and we're going to start it. Okay, it's about a minute in, and it's asking us to run this. I kind of don't want it to, I don't like running things within here. Let's test if the basic structure works and we can implement the turn logic. So let's see what happens if I click run the game. Okay. Great, the basic structure is working. All right, we'll let it do that. So now it's continuing. Okay, now it wants me to run this command to install the requests. It should already be installed, but I guess in their usage that works. Okay, so now they're running the game command. I think in my previous one video I shot, I had some rules where I told it I wanted to use my own command line, but we'll see. Since we're using the agent this time, we'll let it run within here. Okay, so now we're going to test it. Enter P to play cards, E to end turn. Pop out terminal. Feels like it's been stuck here, so cancel and resume for a bit. Generating. Great, the board is... Okay, so we're going to accept all, and we are only a few minutes into it, less than 5 minutes into this, and so it says we already have something. So let's just do Python userwords.py. Okay, so play. So we have our hand here. So you can see it starts the board. So it's supposed to have scores and current turn and hand. Okay, so use your words. Yes, it creates the board correctly. Again, we're going to have a better graphical interface for this right here. So I'm going to pause while I try to think. Actually, let's. It says the dictionary API works, so let's try to do something that definitely doesn't work. So let's play an E on 1. Enter positions 1. Enter cards to play E. Successfully played. Is EC a word? I don't think EC is a word. So let's play again. Let's double check that. RSC is definitely not a word, so we'll try that one. So the position we want to play. So it played correctly, so that's good. R is not a valid word. Hold on. Is EC a real word? Actually, it looks like it is. Sort of. I think it's kind of come from Spanish, so that's really interesting. Let me see if I can get to the steal phase. Okay, I know what we're going to try to do. We have RIP. We're just going to replace all the first ones. So we're going to play cards. We're going to try to play more than one. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do RIP. can't play more than 3 cards per turn. Okay. Huh. I'm not sure that's correct, but let's, alright, let's try something else. Okay, we can spell pie on that first line, so we're going to go play again. So we're going to do 1 and 2. I'm going to do P and I. So we scored 3 points. Okay, so it did not go, wait, enter position to play or 0 to discard. Oh, play U. So we stole a U. It didn't note that very well, so let's just make a note here. A couple of our notes. Okay, so we have a few notes here, but we're gonna do enter position to play U. We are just going to put it on 6 because we just want to take it from the other player. We don't get a point for that. Invalid input, use a number. Please enter a number. I did enter a number. 6. Okay, that's weird. Okay, we've got something where we want to make clear, and then it's something I thought of, but we're going to skip that for right now. So here's what we're going to do. Since we're still in the agent, we're going to go here. Actually, let's make sure we do @u. There we go. And we'll let that roll right there. Okay, that didn't take that long. Let's just do cancel on that, and we'll accept. And now we're going to go back into here, and we're going to kill this script. Go back up and try it again. All right. Okay, so I played con on here, 3-letter word. Steal opportunity, you're able to steal. You've stolen 0 cards from their hand. Interesting. I'm not sure if that means it's playing from my hand, and maybe we'll figure it out. So we're going to do 2. We're just going to put it right on top of there. Successfully played O for 0 points. That's correct. Now we stole an E. Oh, wait, but it does look like it... You've stolen an E from your hand. Okay, so it did not... Okay, it looks like it's actually stealing the first card from myself. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste it into here and just hit enter and let it fix that. Okay, when it did let's test these changes, I hit cancel. I'm just going to hit accept, and we're going to run it again. Alright, so, oh, there's a star. Okay, so we found another bug. I saw that if I do P-A-I, it would spell pair, but it checked P-A-I. It needs to check the whole word. So we're going to fix that. Okay, so I usually just use a normal notepad here to keep track of this because it's just a little easier than having to hit shift enter all the time. And so what we're going to do is we copied the command line, exactly what followed. It did not measure that correctly. Let's see if we can fix. So again, we're vibe coding here. We're not trying to fix this ourselves. We're just giving it to the model, giving it to the agent, and letting it go and find and fix its own issues. And we're going to see if it can do that. And so far, so good. I think this is a good example. I know a lot of people start with games and it's just graphics right away, but I think it's, at least from this standpoint, I'd rather get kind of the rules right and make sure that's working, so we can kind of test a little bit at a time, because I don't really trust the model that much to get that right with any sort of complex rules. Okay, so no, we're not going to test it. We're going to accept though, and we're going to go back here and we're going to run it again. Okay, so it didn't quite get it right. It's putting all 3 of the words together. So this is where sometimes you run into these things. Use your turds is not a valid word. And it did not, it's weird. So I try to, definitely one that wasn't correct, but it's even this one where I should be able to put a T here for tour. It's counting all 3, this is all one word, when it's 3 separate words. So we're going to copy and paste the command line in again and tell it that. Okay, we're getting closer, but at the same time, it's possible that it continues to, that this might be something it has trouble with, which is very common, that sometimes it just gets harder and harder for it as it makes more and more code. Let's do a quick check while that's running. We're at 24 minutes. How many lines of code? About 300 lines of code here. This is definitely faster than if I were to do this myself, do this just like by hand, writing 300 lines of code. Some of these libraries I'm not super familiar with. Creating that structure initially, I've never called the dictionary API, so let's see what happens here. So I think it is definitely saving me time. So now I found 2 bugs. It's still doing the first and second word together as one word, but also when I was playing 3 letters, nothing happened. So we're gonna have to put that in there and see what happens. See what the model can do. Okay, we're still there. Now, I do know that this context window is getting kind of long. We're still trying to solve kind of the same problems, so until we solve that, I'm gonna keep at it. But that might be hurting our chances now because it's getting quite large. Let's see how long it takes to do this. Okay, that didn't take that long, about a minute. It was able to, it claims it was able to identify it, but it always does that. So let's just accept it though, and we will see what happens. Oh, wait. Okay, so we're getting an error. We're just going to copy that back into here. Error. Okay, that didn't take too long, but let's see if it would accept. And let's see if we get an error. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it checked the correct word, but it's saying your is not a valid word. So what we need to do is we need some debugging here to see why it is doing that. Why is it saying that? Is that actually coming from dictionary.com? So I think what we want to do is we want to store in a like a text file, like a running text file, like what are we sending and what are we receiving back from the dictionary.com, the dictionary API. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and clear a new one. I think it's just getting too long, and I think this will help. So even though it might hurt some of the relevant stuff at this point, everything's just gonna have to stand on its own. Okay, let's go ahead and accept that. And now what we can do is we'll actually get a, let's just put 5-0. Oh, play 5-0. Yours not a valid word. Yes, it is. So let's see what we're sending it. Ah, I see. It is 404ing the API itself, so that's why it's having issues. Okay. Instead of, there's like Merriam-Webster has a free one. I'm just going to use GPT 3.5 Turbo. I trust it more that the API is going to actually work, and GPT 3.5 Turbo is super inexpensive, and these are very small inputs. And so let's, oh shoot, okay, hold on. Did I tell it? Oh, I didn't do, usually I had tag at web, and I forgot to do it, but then it's searching. First, let me search. That's great. I figured that out. Oh, I had to click to confirm, actually. I was sitting here waiting for 3 minutes for it to look for the information. So I actually have to click this. So we'll do remember my preference here. So I don't have to keep clicking. It is interesting that it did that. It probably would have been actually faster if I searched it and put, you know, sample code in here. But I wanted to see if it could do the search itself. Okay, so let's just run it. I'm actually wondering if it will do the prompt correctly, but we'll see if it understands what it's doing here. Okay, so we're gonna do 5 and oops, play 5-0. Your is not a valid word. Okay, so here is what it did, and it stored the response. So is your a valid word? It looks like maybe because I did the lowercase. So let's try again. Let's try play 5-0. Okay. So I think what we want to do is we actually want to make this not case sensitive. Let's make our. So I just wanted to make this a little bit cleaner because obviously I think the O down case would have worked. And they did a good prompt here. You are a dictionary validator, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do. It found it via the search. That's great, and it coded it in there. Pretty happy with that overall. That I didn't have to look up anything, and if I didn't already know how to do it, it found the API information I needed. Okay, we're not gonna review the code. We're just gonna check that there, and we're still. So how far are we into it right now? We're 45 minutes into it. I kind of want to see if we can get this done in less than an hour. I definitely think this was much faster. Well, the longer it goes, where I guess the validation really had more to do with my lack of experience with the API, and I guess I'm spending time talking to you, my wonderful viewer. Okay, so one thing, it doesn't check to see if I have this letter in my hand, so we're gonna tell it to check for that. We're gonna start a new thread. Okay, so a pretty simple thing here. This is one of those things where I think if I were coding this from scratch, this would have been obviously something I would have done right from the beginning. I wouldn't say this is a major bug, but obviously the game doesn't work if somebody can just play whatever letters they want whenever they want. Okay, so we just accepted the changes. We're going to rerun the code. We're going to try to play a letter we don't have. So we're going to go play 5, O. You don't have the following cards in your hand. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I think we're getting really close here. And some of this time I'm spending actually kind of like looking at the words and trying to figure out something to play to get to the different stages. So right now, it didn't really work with the steal phase. If I just end my turn, we'll go to the next player's turn. Okay. And so we'll keep the same hand. Okay, so we have the same hands, and it is switching turns. It just didn't end my turn after the steal phase on the other one. It filled up my hand, and I got 9 more points. Okay, that's fixed. But before I check that, I'm going to go ahead and I want it to start documenting the deck. And then this will help me. I don't know if I want to actually play a full game to try to get to the end game, but I suspect that now the stealing will work, so we'll test the stealing while that runs. Okay, the stealing seems to have worked. I only have 3 cards in my hand. Let's see if I end my turn. And end my turn. There we go. Let's accept this, and we will try again. Okay, before I check that, actually, I want to get to the end game, and so we're going to add a max turns player variable per player, and so it's an alternative game engine, so I can just kind of end the game really quickly. Okay, so let's just set this to 5 for right now, and we're going to play the game again, and we're going to do it real quick. I think we're good here, so... okay, so in player's 1 turn, we scored a bunch. Actually, let me check the decks real quick before we end the game. Okay, that seemed to work. There was one other issue where if I do a lowercase letter and I have an uppercase in my hand, it doesn't check. It doesn't check the correct case, or it tries to case match it, which it shouldn't do. But I think it should also display what turn number we're on in this. But otherwise, this works, and did it completely via vibe coding. I don't think other than editing this constant here, I don't think I changed a single line of code myself. Was this faster than me coding it myself? Absolutely, because there's a lot of stuff in here that just finding and figuring it out and thinking about it would have taken quite a bit longer than an hour. I think we'll stop this video here. Please like and subscribe for the next iteration, where what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take this, now that we have the logic working, and I'll clean up a few things, we're going to try to take this and make it graphical and put it up on a website for people to maybe play with each other, actually play with each other. We're going to see if we can do that via the agent, but I think so far, I think this is the proper way to do it. I wouldn't want to start from the beginning with like, hey, let's put this all on a website, give it the full set of instructions. I think it makes sense to give it, if you're going to use the agent, to give it an arc of things that work that you can validate, because as you saw, there were a lot of things we had to change. There was a lot of things we had to update, some of which was the AI's fault and some of which it was not the AI's fault. It was either very reasonable or it just wasn't clear or they missed. So there's variations between missing and having bugs and having things just done wrong. So otherwise, though, I think this was a pretty cool vibe coding experiment. Really curious to see what it will do when we take this to the next level and actually make this like a two-player. We're going to add graphics first, so that'll be kind of the next step, so that there's a graphical user interface, and then put it up on a website where people can play. So I think those will be kind of our next two arcs. And so look for, if you enjoyed this video, look for that video as well. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.